Call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think the,
Here's the agenda I put for you.
we have the minutes of the meeting on April 29th. That meeting, I was in Africa. If we-
Well, then I was here, so Evan did do the minutes. We passed them out earlier in the week. And have you all read them or satisfied with them? Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 29th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meetings are adopted, the minutes are adopted. And the IOC appointments, I think, have been made.
No, they have not. We have a new fiscal year starting July 1st. And, put in military terms, we want to find out who wants to re-up. So Bob, are you going to be a
Yes.
member going forward? Okay, and I am
Matter of
too.
fact, I think I was appointed by the selectmen.
Were you?
Yes. I didn't bring that
Oh,
agenda.
you remember which meeting it was?
It wasn't this last one, though, right?
No.
No, it might have been the one before.
I didn't put anything in.
No. We had some nominations messed up this past meeting, so we're gonna have to go back to them at the next following meeting.
Because there was a big list of appointments at the selectmen's meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't go. There was some that were off, so.
So I stand corrected. While my name was on that list, I may not.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, so there were no nominations as of this last select board meeting because there was a kind of a clerical error in some of the stuff, so it'll be on the next one.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to put in a memo, unless you all do it individually, but I can do it collectively.
Are they all one-year terms on that?
It's all one-year terms, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like the wind power.
It's 5.
So, Evan, are you on for another year?
I'm on the fence. Things have been a little chaotic personal life, so I'm not really too sure at the moment.
I'm going to put that down as a yes. You didn't say no.
Fair enough.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes, hopefully, as long as I can continue to be helpful, yes.
Okay. And then your continuance depends on the select board.
Correct, yes.
But you want to continue?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
You're gonna write no on the side of my name?
No. No, you finally passed muster, Jake.
Yeah, maybe.
And then Duncan Law is the Finance Committee representative, and his participation next year would depend on the FinCom. But he seems to enjoy the meetings, and so let's hope he does say yes. I will call Duncan and call his chair and see. So, we actually have, with the 5 of us, or with the 8 of us, actually, assuming Evan comes back, we have 7, and we actually have a place for 8. So if anybody knows anybody who's very interested in it, please let me know. We can get them on board. Okay? All righty. Okay.
Okay, meetings?
Next, upcoming meetings. So it's June, 2 months is August, but I'm really loath to schedule a meeting in August.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty much against August meetings, so why don't we look into September? And there's the 9th of September.
Is there any need to meet?
The only thing we'll have going on in, definitely in September, will be the actual bid documents will be out.
When?
Out in September,
Okay.
based on the schedule. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in.
You don't have a date yet for the bid, do you?
Because the selectmen approved the negotiation for the contract.
Right.
So Chris has that.
Authority. Yeah, I think we might be okay to not do anything in August. If anything changes, I'll email you, Maury, but I don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can always have, a quick meeting in August.
Okay.
And I mean, I will be here most of August. I might be away like 5 days, but,
Okay.
you know, but it's still a time when the wheels of government slow down. And so let's do September 9th for now. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yes.
It's a Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday. It better be Wednesday.
Yeah, it's 2 days, that's 2 days after Labor Day.
Yeah, so it's, Labor Day's the 7th,
Yeah, it's late this
so
year.
it'll be the 9th, yeah. So 9/9, and it'll be 6:30 here in the Select Board room, and I will check with Carla shortly to make sure we reserve the room. Okay,
How about we've got, Roger, your report on the Keating project that's going to go forward?
Yes. Do you want me to run through the list now?
Sure.
Okay. So just in terms of update, a typical meeting updates regarding the prior project. We still have some punch list items to wrap up, I should say. We did do some of that over the last couple of months, but there's some minor things that need to still take place associated with Mass DOT and the finalization of the work on Route 6, Gifford and Osborne. So the contract is still on the hook till all those open items are resolved. In terms of the, and at any point, if you want me to stop, let me know. But in terms of the private service connections update, we did have a couple more connect, I believe, since our last meeting. Now we're at a total of 49 confirmed, so roughly 29% of the total available services to residents, meaning a curb stop located at their property line. 29% of those folks have connected. Regarding the Keating 1 earmark, so the Briggs Road Fire Station, Oakland Loop area. Sure.
Roger, about the private service connections, how about the two families we discussed at the last meeting that had the distressed wells? I believe it was Benoit Street off of Route 6.
That one is on the agenda. We're going to touch on that. Yep. We're going to, it's a good point. Yep, we'll bring that up. So in terms of the, again, the Keating 1 money, we've got the plans basically at 100% design. The permit has been submitted to MassDOT. We received some initial comments from MassDOT. We're waiting on the final comments from operations and traffic at MassDOT, and we expect to have all those comments back by July 9th. And then typically what we do is we update the plans and address those comments through the state highway access permit process. As a reminder, we have to do that because there is a section of Route 88 that's within the state layout that requires to seek Mass DOT permits.
And Roger, just so you know, that the other night on conservation, we approved the,
The NOI?
yeah, the NOI.
Perfect.
So they came through on Tuesday night, and we approved that on Tuesday night.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you, Jake. So, and as a reminder again, and we'll talk about this a little bit in more detail, but the design procurement for the next phase, the Keating 1 work, and as a reminder, we have both the federal funding and the local match. The local match is being paid for through the state federal funding match, so there's no additional cost to the town for the match. The 20% has been identified, and we have a commitment letter for the Keating 1. So both the federal and the match has been secured. The goal is to bid that Keating 1 project, which again is Briggs Road in the Oakland neighborhood, which is Arlington Street, Glenwood, for example, is going to be structured so that we bid it out with some alternates. Yeah, and I'd like to talk about that a little bit. So the alternates allow us to bid the base contract, which is going to be the main work that we're going to fund fully is going to be the Briggs Road extension up to the fire station at 85 Briggs Road. And the idea behind that is so that the way the law reads, we have to add alternates so that if the total bid exceeds the amount that we've programmed to do all those streets, we can then pick and choose where we want to apply that money in the Oakland neighborhood. So it's a strategic method that's used so that we don't find ourselves in a position where we don't have some flexibility in awarding the bid. If you turn to the back of the memo I provided, we've got a sort of a diagram with a lot of lines on it, but basically the intent there is to show what the potential alternates could be. So the light blue line is the existing water main that was already brought down Osborne. And if you follow Osborne, we've got some different shaded lines that identify the potential alternates and the way we thought we would structure that, and we'll talk about this again in a little more detail, but bid alternate number 1 would be the Arlington Avenue neighborhood, in part because we did submit a survey out to that entire neighborhood to see interest in connecting, and we did receive some feedback there. We did have some folks on Arlington Ave that did demonstrate they were interested in connecting. So that would be alternate 1. That would be the first place we would go after the base bid, Briggs Road. If we had enough money to do that, that would be the first place. If we had still money left over, the second bid alternate would be the Elmwood Avenue portion of the Oakland Loop. So that would be bid alternate number 2. And then bid alternate number 3 would be the extension, and those will look like they're probably 2-inch lines up or down, further down Oakland Street and further up Glenwood Ave, and those lines are shown here in green. So I know it's there's a lot of lines here, but if that works for the committee, then that's the way we would want to structure the bid.
And
Question, yeah, go ahead.
And for the public that's listening or watching, the idea of the alternatives is that we've been fortunate with the bids, and they've come in less than the engineer's estimate for the work. So we're definitely going to bring the water main to the fire station, but we believe we have more money than that, and then we're going to choose out of these alternatives to add this to the contract, so we don't have to go back out and there's 2 things we don't want to do. We don't want to return grant money that we haven't spent, and we want to use it in the best possible areas to serve neighborhoods. So that's the purpose of the alternatives, is to have sufficient work covered by the bid that we don't lose any or return any of the grant money.
My question, well, now I have a couple of them actually, but Roger, on the Arlington Avenue area, when it leaves Route 6 and comes down, it turns left onto W Street. Is that right? But there's a big old schoolhouse diagonally across from that turn. Were they approached? Were they sent a letter?
I don't believe they were included in the.
Huh?
No.
They were not.
No.
We should check, because if we do, given the survey that you did, 2 are interested in connecting, 1 is not sure, and 1 is reporting a well concern, which may turn into a connection. So there's 3 or 4 possibilities there on Arlington. So, this should be, bid alternate number 1, as you've declared it. But there's a school right there. It's called Greenwood School.
Okay.
And it's a private residence now. And we should really be in touch with them and see whether they want to connect, maybe.
Okay.
And the second thing I wanted to say is that, the alternate 2 and 3 really got no response, except 1 was not interested, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, no, there are quite a few that weren't interested. But, and so if we go back here to the money, if we get that PFAS grant, and you're hopeful, right?
Yes, we're going to talk about
Okay, we pretty much have to allocate that to the Briggs Road section.
Correct.
Because they had a PFAS hit.
Correct.
And so that leaves, this 1.2 million, really, to do something on, off of Route 6.
The Briggs Road connection is a lot more than 300,000.
How much more?
I think the estimate for the Briggs Road section is in the 850,000.
Yeah.
Just that little stretch?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, well, I will stop my comment then. Because that leaves, if it is 800,000, then that leaves only 600,000 for the neighborhoods. Yeah.
Yeah, as a reminder, we submitted a $300,000, we talked about that at one of our meetings, a $300,000 request to the Mass DEP, in part because we just received a $4 million grant. So I called them, I talked to one of the program directors, and the response was, geez, you just got $4 million, but we decided to go ahead, go back, and try to go for a dollar amount that was not going to make them feel like we were going back to the trough too many times.
Yeah,
So we landed on that, and it's 300,000, I mean, it's gonna help, it's something.
okay, so it will help get us from Gifford Road to the
Yes.
fire station.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you're right, we do have to, that money would have to be programmed, which we can do. It's just a budgeting exercise that I go through when I submit the paperwork. But yes, we would program that specifically.
Do we have to tunnel under Route 88?
No,
No, we're just going to dig up Route 88?
yes,
Road layout.
Huh?
It'll be in the
Yeah.
road layout.
Sure.
Oh, no, but I mean, will we interrupt traffic on the
Yes.
surface? It would be, okay,
yep.
okay, all right,
It's signalized there, so we've got, that advantage as well.
yeah.
We did go through, I went through with Alex over at Kleinfeld, we kicked that approach, so it'll be a, not to get into too much detail at this point, but it's gonna be a three-phased work zone. Briggs Road, we're gonna be able to maintain some traffic there, we're not gonna shut Route 88 down, and then a second phase would be the middle of the road, and the last phase would be the fire station side. So we did go through quite a bit of sort of brainstorm and try to figure out.
Okay, okay.
Roger, I have a question for you on that. Is there a way to do night work on that on 88?
Yeah, that's not out of the question. If we wanted to do that, then we would want to make sure we put that in the
Bid.
I'm just thinking that obviously if, the traffic during the, during the day on 88.
Bad idea.
It may make more sense to do it like, I don't know, an 8 PM or 7 PM to whatever their normal hours would be, and then you would have less interruption. The only reason I know that is because we're dealing with Hicksbridge right now and everything going on over there with
Yeah.
Eversource. So I think maybe that would be a possibility if it could be done.
Yeah.
Could we do that as an option? Because I know the night works will be a lot more money.
And that was my only other thought in the back of my mind is that it
Yeah,
may
if-
jack up
if
the
they
cost.
can-
I don't know.
If they can bid as an option,
Yeah,
Night work is more expensive.
yes.
Yeah.
yeah, it's more, a lot more.
It would be more expensive. We don't have a lot of days. I mean, it's not going to take, I mean, I'm thinking, 3 days or so, not including the patching and stuff like that. We could get through that intersection, so it would be, let's just call it a week's worth of night work,
Yeah.
broken up a little bit, so, but yes, it would
I
be.
mean, you get everything done and get there and then just do that, whatever you have to do at night on 88, maybe. I don't know.
During the day, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe they can do in 3 phases, 1 lane at a time.
Yeah.
Making whatever order you prefer, like the center lane, then the right lane, and or northbound lane and a southbound lane.
I think at the very least, we should kick it around and see what the impacts.
Just see what they come up with.
Yeah.
Well, Roger.
Good idea.
Raj?
Yes,
Or
sir.
maybe at the very least, not on prime time, like a Friday afternoon with the most traffic.
Yeah. Some sort of,
Like the DOT kind of does,
yep. Yeah, I mean,
Try not to inconvenience the public as much as possible.
yep. Yep. I don't disagree with that.
Chair, I have a question for Roger with respect to, this is kind of out of the agenda order. This deals with the bid alternates 1, 2, and 3. So the neighborhoods you have listed there with basically it looks like Arlington would be the only one that would be, well, if we're going through those alternate bids. But with respect to the issue that we have on Broad Street, is that something that could fall into this phase, or is it completely outside of the scope of the work? Like, let's assume we have the extra 400,000 or whatever that number is left over, and we know that South Broad Street has 4 or 5 customers that are pretty much impacted by wells right now. Could that fall into this earlier bid?
We would have to go back and sort of do a
Okay.
redo,
I'm just thinking it's such a short run, and
Yeah.
if we're heavy on, well, we have a little extra cash, does that make sense? And what would that be priced at? I don't know those specifics, but
I think probably what we might want to do is after we get the bids in,
yeah,
by some so if they come in like crazy low or something like that, and there's some money available, but keep in mind that the other issue associated with the Briggs Road is we have to extend the main on Route 6. So that would be whether or not they would allow us to amend the existing permit.
Okay.
And I talked to Bob a little bit about this, but that's something, that's the easier path. But if they require us to submit another permit on Route 6, then that would take some time.
Okay.
So.
And that's through Mass DOT?
And that's Mass DOT. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, they're doing their job, this is not, but it's a process.
Yeah.
It's,
But our permit, I know it doesn't apply to the work, but our permit now is still active, right? We
It
haven't
is.
closed that permit out.
we have not. We have not,
So could you keep that permit open to?
It's possible to amend it,
Okay.
yeah. And we did with
because
the.
they have punch list work, so our permit is open.
That's right. And we did issue some amendments to the prior permit. We extended the main a little bit, if you recall, up to 875. There was money left over to do that.
Yeah.
Which worked out great because that particular property was in distress. They had a real issue, as you're probably aware of, so they just, by luck, we extended the main, that solved that problem.
Okay.
And we did amend the permit to add a blow-off connection to one of the drain manholes that belonged to Mass DOT. So we did amend the prior one a couple of times.
Okay.
So I think maybe with that, maybe we shouldn't be in a rush to close out the permit.
Yeah, I wouldn't close it out before we see what we have
Yeah.
for the bids that come back and what money is left over to possibly do that.
Okay. Yep, that sounds like a good idea.
I'm thinking about just, knocking on some doors on the people who didn't respond. Can you give me a list of the addresses and the responses and all?
We have a complete,
Because I'm very interested in that old school building that we could maybe connect if they're interested.
What is that school, right?
It's called Glenwood School, and it was an elementary school that was active back in the 50s and 60s. But it closed. And I guess the elementary was consolidated with Macomber at
Right.
that time. But I remember Claude Ledoux telling me he went there. He had a,
It was a Greenwood Park School.
it-
I went there.
you went there too, okay. It's a private home now.
First grade, yes.
Yeah.
It
It's a
was
private
two
home?
apartments for a while.
It's apartments?
My grandparents lived in one of them. I don't know if it's all one home now.
Oh, really? Okay,
Two
okay.
apartments when it first was not a school.
Interesting, okay. So that's one, and then to, go back into the other streets where we really had no positive hits at all. Because it opens up the question, do we want to put it on Glenwood Avenue and Elwood Avenue if we have nobody interested? So, anyhow, just a thought.
yep.
So if you can give me the information that you got back from the responses, and if anybody else wants to walk it with them, Jake, you're the elected politician here.
I have enough jobs right now. I can't be a door knocker too. Maybe in the fall. I can't do it in the
No, I'm talking now, like
And
soon.
I think also for the public, we should just make it clear that the monies that we're talking about are all grant monies. So this is not local tax money at all. And our Congressman Keating has got direct congressional spending grants for us, two of them. One, the one we're talking about now, and the second one that's also approved. And our Senator, Mike Roderick, has reached into a state fund for us to get us the local match. So even though there is a required local match, that's actually state money that came. So we're not, we've again not had to reach into the taxpayers for even the local match for the federal monies. And then the PFAS grant is just because there is PFAS contamination, particularly in the north end of town, and particularly the fire station, which has a public well. And so that again is state monies that we've applied into the water system. So this again is, so far, all of the expansions that we've been able to accomplish, that the town has been able to accomplish, has been done with either federal or state monies.
Yeah. And this is an important point that Bob makes. Because in 2024, in the springtime, as everybody knows, we took a big, water and sewer, primarily sewer project to the ballot box, and for $35 million loan to build water and sewer all the way on Route 6, and that failed. Then in May, we took it to the annual town meeting, and with a sewer-only, very curtailed amount of $7 million, but it would have been borrowings. And so the town rejected borrowings, and the town rejected sewer, actually. But we have a little water utility, and so our activities have been toward expanding the existing water utility, which was set up, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago, and, with a enterprise fund, with water commissioners, et cetera. And that's what we are doing. We're extending that. And we are having some success getting grants, as Bob just noted. But I want to make it clear, this is not what the town voted against. The town voted against borrowing. The town voted against sewer. It did not vote against the extension of the water line. And I just will make that point from time to time, just so we're all clear. Roger, back to you.
Sure. So just to put a bow on it, so in terms of the Keating 1, we're on schedule. With respect to the permitting and the actual construction for that 2026 construction window towards the end of this year. And there'll be some finish work because of the timing of the contract. We anticipate that there'll be some paving early next year when the weather breaks.
So this is a project that we put it to bid by September, and this is a project that occurs mostly this fall.
Yep.
And then with potential final paving and everything in the streets in the spring.
Correct. Yep.
But all in this fiscal year.
Right, correct, yep. So in terms of just, and we touched upon this a little bit, but in terms of the 85 Briggs Road Fire Station, we submitted the necessary paperwork. We submitted record water testing. It didn't include all the requisite water testing that we would need for the ECSDC or the PFAS grant, if you will. The state came back to me and said we need more recent tests. So we did go to the fire station, did the water sampling, and we did get a hit of exceedance. It's over the threshold for the PFAS at the fire station. We also got exceedance in the manganese for the fire station. We updated the application and the statement of work and all the other stuff that they require us to send them. And so the fire station ended up being a good place to go because of that. And we heard back from the Mass DEP, who administers the EPA PFAS money, and they allocated $300,000 towards the project. So that allocation means there's a good chance, I'm the superstitious guy, and he kind of doesn't want to count the chickens until they hatch, but it looks good for the $300,000. I've sent Chris just recently all the documentation for his review, and we'll get that over to the state. The state then takes that and sends it to the EPA for their final review, and the hope is that we'll get an additional $300,000 towards the project. So between the Keating 1, which was $959,000, the state match, which was $239,000, and the PFAS, for this next phase of work, we're looking at roughly $1.5 million worth of grants and non-local funds. Yes, sir.
So the fire station just reminded me of something. Our neighbor, Little Compton, I recently read about, had contaminated wells in their town center, their town hall. There's a school there and a bunch of municipal buildings. And they got the money from the state of Rhode Island, from what they call a Forever Chemical Bank, that was given to them from the federal government.
Yeah.
They filled out a simple application because they needed it, and they got money for a large filtration system, and they handled it that way. Can we do that in Massachusetts?
That's pretty much the same thing that the PFAS grant is doing here. The Mass DEP administers it for Massachusetts. It's the same pool of money that's at the federal level, and then they give it down to the local the Departments of Environmental Protection, so Rhode Island's own Department of Environmental Protection. So it's the same tranche of
Seems a
money.
little more competitive, the way you have to write it up. Seems a little more competitive. They got the full amount for the project,
Yep.
simply because they needed it.
Yeah, my sense is it's probably the
From
same.
what they call a Forever Chemical Bank
Yep.
in Rhode Island.
So the PFAS is the forever chemical that they're talking about.
Right.
And I think we'll look into it, but I think, but I think it's the same stuff that we're applying for now. Yep.
I think there's just more mouths to feed in Massachusetts. Keating too.
Keating too. Well, I just was going to touch quickly, so, and the Vice Chair touched upon it. So I just summarized the survey that we sent out. We received 24% of the people responded. I won't go through that again since the Vice Chair's already talked about that. I don't know if the Chairman talked a little bit about the RFQ evaluation process. So we went through that process. The Chair, Jake and Chris were on the committee to review the.
And Bob.
And Bob, the Chair, yep. Review the packages that were submitted. We had 16 in total interested folks. We only received one response, which is the existing engineering firm that we're working with right now. It might seem sort of silly to go through this whole, but all this stuff we then have to assemble and provide to our project officer at the EPA, because CFR, Code of Federal Regulations, at the federal level requires us to go through this process. And so the process itself also, what I did is I included in the solicitation the option to extend services into the Keating 2 money. So we won't have to go through this again, and we would satisfy that requirement.
So a subcommittee of myself and Selectman McQuiggan and the town administrator served as the qualified selection committee. We reviewed everything independently, voted for it. We have minutes of that meeting, and it was all done in a public meeting. And we then took that recommendation to the Board of Selectmen on Monday night, and they approved that the design firm, which is the design firm we've been working with all the water work, they approved the design firm and authorized the town administrator to negotiate the contract. And having done that, as Roger just explained, when the Keating 2 money comes available to us, having already gone through that, we won't have to go back out and go through that process again.
Yeah. And I just want to mention a kind of a wrinkle in the whole process, because the Keating money is a congressionally designated spending, and it is federal money coming directly to us. A lot of federal money comes through the state, and federal money administered by the state does not have to go through this process, but a CDS does. So just so you know.
So, all the documentation, work plans, CADEX, all the stuff that the federal procurement officer and the federal process requires, we've already submitted that all to them, so they have everything I think they need from us. We're waiting to hear back, and we're going to touch base with them this week and see if there's anything else they need with us, so that's moving along. With respect to the Keating 2, the town received the Keating 2 money. As the chair mentioned, also requires a 20% match. That Keating 2 earmark, or it's not an earmark at this point, but the fund is $1,092,000. We have received a commitment letter for the state match, so we have a letter in hand that says that the state's going to provide us the match that's necessary, which totals $273,000, bringing the Keating 2 funding to $1.365 million. And when we add in the 4 million and the Keating 1 to date, we've pulled together $6.85 million in total grants.
And I'd just like to add a new development, because last Wednesday, the State House passed a bond bill and inserted into the House version by our own state rep, Steve Willett, and Dartmouth State Rep, Chris Markey, was $1 million to extend the water line down Route 6. Now, there are a lot of hurdles. It's got to go through the Senate. It's got to go to the governor. It's got to be actually authorized for expenditure. But this $1,365,000 could become $2,365,000. And just so you know. And it's, with Chris Markey co-sponsoring the $1 million injection with our own Steve Willett, indicates that, the town of Dartmouth is hoping to get the water line, which starts for us in Fall River. They want to get it all the way to the Dartmouth line so that they can buy water from New Bedford, from Fall River. And so this would bring that line $1 million closer. My understanding is the full distance might cost $5.5 million, something like that. But at least $1 million would bring us a little closer, and we could serve some commercial properties along the way. So.
Good to know. Item 9 does talk about South Barault Street. So with the Keating 2, we touched upon this a little bit at the last meeting, but we went through a process with the Keating 1 money to go to identify where the committee wants to spend that money. So South Barault Street is a viable option, a viable location for the Keating 2 planning due to the water concerns. And that would require, as we discussed, an extension of about 350 feet in the Route 6 section and about 750 feet of water main up South Barault. So this is something that we could discuss so that's not going to cost $1.365 million. So we have the option of doing something similar. We can put together, as we did in the Keating 1 money, some other alternatives analysis that looks at potentially other neighborhoods or other locations besides South Barault that you might want to bring the money and then try to figure out where you want to spend that. In part because ideally we'd want to, unlike this tranche of money, we've gotten word from the EPA that all their guidance has come down, so we're good to go with that money. And so ideally, it'd be nice to be able to put that stuff together. By that stuff, I mean the bid documents, and have it bid out in the wintertime, because we tend to get better bids, as you know, in the wintertime.
So Jake, now is the time, if you want to invite Scott up to.
Rod, oh, go ahead, sorry, sir.
Roger, first of all, I apologize. I called it Benoit Street. I actually took it right out. It's Broad Street. And I was concerned about, that was brought to our attention at the last meeting with the two families with the distressed wells that were close by. So now it would be included in Phase 2, correct? What we just talked about?
Correct, if that's what the committee wants to do.
And when is Phase 2?
So we'd probably be in a position to do that work next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
And it's two families very close.
It could be more, I
We've
think.
got several months before even the slightest freeze. Is there any way we can run a temporary line to these close two families to help them out of this distress? At least until the freeze, which would be very close to Phase 2, and then we would address it then. There's something we can do for these two families, right?
While being super sensitive to the need,
Bypass.
it still would require, the Route 6 portion still is short, the 350 feet.
Right.
So we'd have to extend that main. That's where the water is. So we'd have to extend that. The only other thing,
Do we have the capacity to do it? Can we do it?
the only other thing we could do is, sometimes you get lucky and if, as long as Mass DOT doesn't put some sort of restriction on the permit, we could try to push the project sooner. I mean, we've dug in the ground in November and December if the weather's good, that's not a problem. So if we wanted to sort of really push that, we can try to get it done even sooner, and knowing that we do the final paving and the final finish work in the spring. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't, we can try to make that happen as quickly as possible.
And that's why originally I brought up with the alternate bids on that other project that's already there, if there is a way to work it into what's scheduled for the fall.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no engineer and I don't know how complicated it is, but I mean, basically it's a straight shot and then, 1,100 feet or another 750
Yep.
feet up that. So that's why I was leaning towards that. And Chair, just so you know, the two residents, they requested just to speak, and if you wouldn't mind just kind of coming up, just telling us the situation that you're in with at Peralta Street, and then what has come to your kind of attention with other neighbors as well. You can go there, or you can sit at the table. You're probably more comfortable at the
right here.
table.
I'm a little short.
We're not gonna bite you.
It's called the hot seat.
I am Randy Trial. I own the residence at 4 Broad Street. And my well was tested because of a new septic system going in at the house behind me on Berryman.
Yep.
And when they tested my well, it came back where it's not suitable for human consumption. So we now have water that we bring in. We use paper plates, paper cups. It's a financial burden, and it's also a health issue because we should not even be bathing in it. But we don't have another option for bathing every day, so we use it. It's not because it's not suitable for my dog to drink. I have a daughter with MS who has a very sensitive system, so this water is already bothering her skin. We have heard from some of the neighbors who also had their wells tested alongside the Berryman residents. One of them came back with lead, from what I understand, and they have small children there. And the other neighbor to the right from me, but the left of them, they also came back contaminated. And we're all so close together that I think if that letter went out to even others that didn't abut that one property, I'm sure there's more.
And in the situation in that neighborhood, there are some that are tenants there and probably don't have the ability to test or haven't, or the landlords may not have tested that.
Right. I know the house to one side of them, the one that came back with lead, their homeowner told that tenant not to drink that water
Okay.
at all. But that's all I know about that. And
Okay.
I'm concerned with my property. I don't know of others on Brault, but like I said, I think if that letter had gone to more residents, I think there would be more, because like I said, we're all so close together.
How many houses are on that South Peralta? Do you know?
On the street
On the
itself?
street itself? About?
Probably 10 between both sides.
Okay.
What is the next street over?
Berryman.
Berryman. Have you heard any results? Well, you said.
Yes, the houses on
One that
each side.
started it all, yes.
Right, the houses on each side are both contaminated, as well as me. I'm behind them, or in front of them.
Yep.
And,
So maybe there's a need there on Berryman as well. Yeah.
yeah, I would say so,
I know I
because
talked to
they're
them,
definitely contaminated.
and they said they would definitely hook up if they could. That's what they said.
Maury, I don't know if it makes sense if you're going to door knock. I know you haven't done a survey on that on Brault Street, but maybe that's to see the pressing need there. If you
Yeah.
come back and you have, 10 houses there and 6 or 7 of them said, I'm connecting right away. Or some may not even be aware of the situation occurring at the,
Yeah.
the street. I'm just trying to get, just from my mind is, the water main line is there. I mean, it's like they can see it from their front
Yeah,
yard.
it's-
I know, when it comes to the
right-
Oaks
it's right
Common
there.
Shopping Center, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way as an alternate bid to at least get that situation taken care of there, if we can in that Keating 1, if we leave that permit open, with DOT, or if there's extra money there. Worst case scenario is it's something in the spring of '27, but, now we're a year away and still having to figure out how to shower and live in that kind of situation. So that's kind of the pressing issue.
The thing about Keating 1 is it's well underway.
Yeah.
And as Roger has repeatedly said, or talked about, all the permitting
Yep.
and all the procedure that you have to go through to do
Well,
this
I
and work
think-
on state roads.
I think the critical step to get you water is to have a discussion with MassDOT,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
said, under the, can we amend the present, when we work on Route 6, the State Highway Department has to approve, give us a permit to do that work. We possibly can amend that permit to do the 350 feet, and to have a conversation with them, and then maybe we put this in as an alternate instead of those as the bid alternates, the Route 6 and Brault as an alternate.
Okay. And so were you thinking Peralt would be the first alternate?
Yes.
That's the first street, so I'm just,
Well, Arlington would be the first alternate, I think, because we've gotten good responses there.
but do they have a water issue there?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking from a public
Well,
health standpoint and
yeah.
kind of a town standpoint, what's
Yeah.
best? And I think probably Brault would be
Okay.
the best. I mean, if you got 4 on Arlington, then we technically probably have 4 on Brault, and you're right there. I don't know.
Well, what we did was we kind of separated Keating 1 money from Keating 2 money. And we turned it into 2 projects because we thought if we put them both together, it would be one big 2027 project.
I got you.
But, not trusting federal monies. These,
Yeah, I mean,
we split them up into Keating 1 and Keating 2. Now,
That's because they come with separate authorization dates.
yes, well, the Keating 2 money's not available yet.
it's available.
But the,
Huh? Is it?
It's available, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I talked to the EPA myself. It's there. It's just,
Oh, it is there?
yeah, it's there. So we have, really sounds like we got 2 options, right? We have one is to, at the very least, we should research, because there is some additional design associated with it and some additional permitting, research what that lift would look like before we finalize the existing bid, as the chair just mentioned. We can do that right away, check the Mass, I think that Mass DOT.
I think that's going to be your first answer, right? If Mass DOT basically puts a foot down and says we can't,
Yeah.
amend that or we can't go forward, then obviously that changes the dynamic. But if Mass DOT comes back, says you can amend that permit, then maybe that becomes bid, alternate 1 for fall of 2026.
And then option 2 would be just to
You go to-
get started right away on the Keating 2 money. It's there. I'll get, I have to,
How about the design funds?
that would, what we've have allocated for the Keating 1 money is already, they're gonna, obviously, they get paid to do with this, they're not running a soup kitchen, so we know that. So I would talk to Kleinfelder and see what would it take to pivot or add South Peralt right now on the Keating 1.
Right.
Research the Mass DOT permit and see what that would take. And then prioritize the alternates based on what the committee's just said, you, Jake, and everybody else. So that would be one sort of path, and then the other path would be if that becomes, from a timing standpoint, a difficult lift, which puts us right back where we would be anyway if we were just to bid it out. The second path would be to get started right away on the Keating 2 money and start working on that and see how quickly we can get that bid out, and if we can do work in December, we'll dig in December, know.
I've got a question. When we were looking at putting water and sewer on the entire Route 6 to the Dartmouth line,
Yeah,
we did all the engineering, right? But
Yes.
did we get state permits also to go to the Dartmouth line? No. But we have the engineering.
yeah.
So that does not need to be done.
No, but there's nothing shown on South Peralt for engineering. It's not rocket science, to be honest
Straight
with you.
shot.
Yeah.
Straight shot uphill a little bit.
And on
we
the
did
first
Briggs-
house.
Yeah, no. And we did Briggs Road. I did it myself. We didn't pay anything for the engineering in there. We stuck our heads in the catch basins to measure inverts. So it's not rocket science. So I think if that's the case, then we're probably gonna need a meeting before, you know,
Well, I think,
September, but we can get started on that if the committee wants me to. I'll get started looking at that right away.
I would think it makes sense to look at, the chair, I'm sorry, not speaking of you, but I think it probably makes sense to look at that right away to see if
Okay.
we can fix this situation, and if it does in Mass DOT, and it falls into place, like Maury said and the chair said, we could do a quick, you know, August or, you know, at least let us know or let the chair know what DOT says, and then we can maybe get a meeting
Or
earlier.
we could get a meeting in July.
Yeah, if need be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that. We'll do that.
So we should all work together. Now, maybe you will go knock on doors.
Looks like-
South Pearl.
I don't think there's any way to get you water today, but we could get you water this fall.
That, I'm happy with that. Definitely.
So we're going to work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Much appreciated. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the order of business.
Okay.
You know, talk to Mass DOT. Can we get the permit, can we expand the existing permit to cover that 350 feet? And then if we do that, then make make that extension and the dog leg down into that street,
Okay.
the first alternative for
Okay.
Keating 1. And if we're authorized to spend Keating 2 money, let's figure out what.
So I've got a question for both Bob and Roger, because you know what you're doing here. If we go down, I'm thinking about water engineers liking loops so that the flow can continue. If we go down South Peralt, those last properties have a long tail to them. Berryman also has properties at the end of the road that have a long tail that go into wetlands. Can we link up the back of South Peralt with the back of Berryman to keep water flow going? And we would need a right-of-way on private property.
So we would need,
Those are all paper streets that run up against the wetlands on Brendan
I don't think
Brook.
they're even paper. They're not on the town GIS.
Yeah.
We would have to go through,
if they're not town-owned property, it would require town meeting authorization because we'd have to go through a land taking and all that business.
oh, okay.
Utility easement, so there would be a little bit of, which again would put us into next
So-
May anyway, so we really don't really gain a whole lot
Okay,
doing
we
that.
have to go
yeah.
through town meeting for that. Okay, so we had to do that for the two sewer stations
Yeah,
at White's and at the Meat Works?
Yep.
Oh, we did, okay, we had to, okay.
yeah,
Okay. Scratch that.
no, good question. So we'll do our research and due diligence, and if that's the case, then for the Keating 2, at some point, we need to figure out where we want to spend that money, so we can, it might be too much to bite off today, but we also need to figure out what, as we did with Keating 1, what neighborhoods you want to go in with Keating 2 potentially. We know South Peralta is on the table potentially.
I think, given the potential to put these together, maybe we should have we can deal with it.
Sooner.
It sounds like having you do a little research and then us getting back together in July is probably a good thing to do.
I think so. The Oakland Avenue neighborhood bid alternatives, we've talked about that. It just repeats that. And I did list in item 11, just some of the action items I'd like the committee to sort of act on today, hopefully. One was just approving the subcommittee minutes, which I've prepared, and everyone has a copy in front of them. We talked about item 2, which is the Keating 1 bid alternatives. So I've got some guidance there. And then we'll put something together for the Keating 2 that includes South Baroque potentially, but other locations? Is there any, we have to figure out, we still have that money to spend, and it's not gonna, South Baroque is not gonna be, even if that was on the Keating too, there's still gonna be some money left over. We had a map that Jim put together that showed some other neighborhoods. That's one way to approach that, and then do we want to look at those, and if we do we want to send surveys out as we did with the Keating one to see where there might be interest in connecting?
Yeah.
I think we should. I think people are still hesitant to sign up because, they think now the water is free, and if they don't find themselves in the situation with this family, or they don't know that they're in the situation that family is in,
That's
they continue to use the water, but,
Well, I think we should seriously consider Berryman along with Brielle.
Yeah, I just was,
And,
Maury, I was counting on the map. If you include both Berryman and Baralt, I mean, there could be 20 potential customers. There's
Yeah, I know.
10 houses on each street,
Yep.
so.
yeah.
It's-
No,
it-
I've already looked, and,
Yeah. While it dead ends, it's actually a greater number than Arlington
yeah.
have.
yep.
But Arlington has known interest. The other thing to keep in mind is this $1 million that Willett and Markey inserted into. This is not Senator Markey, this is our state rep Markey from Dartmouth, that $1 million grant. And that would be specifically for Route 6 and extending the water line down Route 6 closer to Dartmouth. And so we would have the opportunity to hook up some commercial properties.
When that gets, if it's still in the final bill, then
Yeah.
we'll see what it is, and it's also, I guess that's this year's budget, right? I mean,
Well, it's gonna,
27 budget.
it's in fiscal '27, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it would be money spent before
Yep,
July 1 next year.
yep.
And
So
so-
that's something that we could expand Keating to.
So, for South Baroque, as you recall, we did do the service connection, private property work.
Yep.
Right, and we left the plumbing to the homeowners. So we haven't programmed any of that for this Keating 1 or Keating 2. Is that something that we want to do as part of the, so, for example, let's just take South Baroque. There's an expense associated, as you know, to bringing the water from the curb stop into the foundation. Any thoughts on that?
So we did that as, Jim Hadden had suggested that, if people sign up when the contract is there, and they give us permission to extend the water service from the curb stop at the street to the house, not in the house. If they sign up while the contract is working in the street, we put that into the contract. And a few people did sign up for that.
Yeah.
We had
It
49,
included a water meter, yeah.
and we provided a water meter.
I would do that.
But we're not offering that now. That was because we had some extra ARPA money.
Okay.
And we do not have that now.
Well, and I bring that up because even these folks, they, to hire a contractor, it's gonna be a few $1,000s to bring,
Yeah,
excavate and bring. There could be some economy of scale, one person, they work together, but there's still, so what we did on the other project is we dug that ourselves, the town dug that out, I sort of supervised that, and then we drilled a hole into their foundation and brought the line in, and then they took it from there. We had,
I think that could be a decision at a later date. What I mean by that, just because if we find out we can move forward with that, then the groundwork would be speaking to those people on Baralt. If you basically got, like you said, say, I mean, even if you get, I mean, we're getting 29% connection rate. I mean, if you got 40%, if you got 4 houses out of the 10, you're at a greater rate than
Yeah.
any other normal connection. So
Yeah.
maybe it makes sense to do it at that point.
yeah.
I mean, I think you probably already have 2 houses, or 3 probably, and it probably wouldn't take too long. I just think some of these other people aren't testing their wells. I just tested my well for the first time in 10 years, and of course, I've got road salt from '88 and everything else in my water, but I'm still here, so.
Oh, Jake, yeah, I think that's exactly right. People are not testing
Yeah.
their wells.
They don't want to know.
Yeah, they don't want to know.
You know, I used to be in the business, and we tested our house when we bought it, but I went
Never
and tested
since.
it again. Right.
And you're close to 88 too on the south end.
Well, I tested when I bought my house, and then I had to test it when I refinanced it. And I didn't, so I know my water's good, but
I think that connection could probably
thanks,
be
Rick,
made.
you do it.
If we are going down that road, meaning we
Yeah.
know it's a possibility, I think you could look at it at.
Yeah, we were gonna include in the bid anyway, I'm gonna draft that up, but we're gonna include in there sort of and that's how we did the other job, the prior connections, a T&M item in the contract, because you can't. it's-
Yeah.
Every property's different, we're not gonna
Yeah.
identify, so we'll include a T&M number in there.
Okay.
But just a sort of order of magnitude, if you're super productive, and not including the interior plumbing, you're probably looking at somewhere in the, I think on average, it was probably like $4,000 per house
Okay.
to excavate and bring the water line into each house. So if there's 10, you can do the math, it's an additional 40, call it $50,000 and work at least.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it looks as if you have a little work to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's nice being able, when you have people come in like this, and like you said, a
No,
lot of
that's-
folks
that's-
don't know.
That's, what the whole purpose of this committee is to help people.
Yeah.
Roger, do we have to take a vote on those subcommittee minutes? I'm just looking at your action
Yes,
items.
please.
I don't know if we got to that yet or not, but
We would need a vote on that, yep.
Well, the subcommittee has a quorum. the
we
2
have
out of
two.
3.
So I make a motion to approve the RFQ subcommittee minutes.
And I will second it. Some subcommittee mayor in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And it's, was approved, 2 of the members and 1 absent. So let's just sort of recap the meeting, Roger. I think the idea is sort of the work item is, first of all, see if we can amend the present permit to do the 350 feet up to South Broad. And then the idea of, and then, is it possible to, what are the alternatives if we were to combine the Keating grants? What work are we going to include in that?
If we combine Keating 1 and Keating 2?
Yes, if we did that.
Well, we would still have to figure that out because.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't seeking an answer, but that's a
Oh,
task,
That's the
right?
task, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And if we just put them out with back-to-back bids, let's say we went out on the street in September, went out in the street in November. I mean, that seems like a real possibility, gives you some design time.
Yep,
We've already done the QBS, so we need to talk to Keating about how we start that and how do we get the design money
yeah.
for whatever that next phase is. So, no matter what, if we start Keating 2 this fall, and then wrap up both of those in the spring, and if the, any of the other grant money from the state comes good, and we add that to the contract, so if that falls into this work, what is that potential scope?
Okay,
And do we do some more surveys and in the neighborhoods and say, you know, if the $1 million for the Route 6 water money came good, that's committed, and we already have that design, that's committed to extending the water main.
We have the engineering,
It's all designed.
yes.
So that's probably $1 million is enough to really require probably getting another MassDOT permit. That would
Yeah.
Well, it
be-
gets us closer to Dartmouth, but not that close, I guess.
No, it won't get you close to Dartmouth.
But it gets us a little closer. But that is the purpose of that $1 million. That's why it was co-sponsored by Markey and Willett.
Do we ask for an amendment to the permit to include extending it all the way up to Berryman as well?
Why not?
I would.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would, you definitely want to, if we can amend the existing permit, it's to probably to do those 2 streets.
Okay.
And could we take part of the Keating 2 money and put it into Keating 1?
It would require, so there's it can be done, but it's the EPA process for, it's a pain in the,
That's messy.
yeah, it's a lot of paperwork. I have to send them a work plan, and then it's, instead of a NEPA, we filed a CADEX.
What about the state
and
match?
It takes,
Can we take the state match without getting the,
no, I think.
The federal
we gotta
grant?
Program that for bridges.
No.
The match is only to,
the match? Yeah, okay.
But-
yeah, yeah.
but worst comes to worst, we do 2 contracts this
Yes.
fall.
Yeah,
Yep.
So,
Because the money's gonna be there either way, from
Yeah.
both 1 and 2.
That's
It's-
right.
It's almost like semantics now as to where you're gonna use that.
Yeah.
yeah. We'll put all that information together. I think I got an idea, yeah.
okay, it sounds like we should get back together in July to, would you have enough time?
Yes,
To
Okay.
get back to us if we met in July?
yep. Yep,
Okay, okay. I will be gone for 2 weeks in July, but you all could meet. But I'm available in the latter part of July, or the earlier part.
What weeks are you gone?
I'm going south. So I'm leaving on,
You going south in the summer? You going backwards?
no, going to the mountains of North Carolina, so it's not that bad.
not that far south.
Yeah, I'll be gone from like the 7th to the 20th or something like that. So I'll be here the first week, and I'll be here
How about-
really the 3rd and 4th weeks.
Well, did you say you'd be here, what, July 22nd? Are you back or no?
Yeah,
How
Is
about
that a
the-
Wednesday?
How about the
Yeah.
8th? Does that give you enough time?
8th? No, I'm leaving. I'm leaving on Monday, the 6th.
Bob, I don't know with the 4th of July, and a lot of people take that first
Yeah.
week off for vacation, so I don't want Roger to be pressing on that. I don't know if it makes
It's gonna
sense.
be a little, I've got to reach out to the EP. I mean, 8th might be a little tight. I mean, Mass DOT doesn't get back to us very
Yeah,
quickly.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
had a little brain cramp.
So the Wednesdays are July 22nd and
It's
July
almost June
29th.
30, right?
Yeah, basically. We're not far away.
So I'm available on July 22nd and July 29th.
Let's try the end of the month. That gives you a
Yeah,
month.
that gives us some
Let's
time.
try for the meeting on the 29th.
29th, okay.
Yeah.
So we are going to 7:29.
I won't be here, but, you know,
Huh?
it is, I won't be here, but it is what it is, you know, you guys need to meet.
I might be traveling for work. I just need to see something real quick. Yeah, I will not be there on the 29th either, so.
Yeah, I won't be here.
What about 22nd?
22nd's fine, but you said you weren't gonna make it. I don't know.
No, I can make it back. I just can't do all the preparation. You guys will have to do all the preparation work.
Is that okay with you, Roger?
Yeah.
I
Do
mean,
the July 22nd.
so you could post the meeting and get the agenda and everything?
Yep.
Bob, okay.
or July 22nd at 6:30.
Roger, you can, we'll work together and just figure out what items do you need to be on the agenda.
Sounds good.
Is there any other business?
Yes, there's one other thing. There's one thing under old business. It's the water line rate review. Because on April 29th, at our last meeting, we discussed rates, water rates, for the upcoming fiscal year. A year ago, we established rates at $8.30 a CCF, and we were looking at the rates for the next fiscal year, the fiscal 2027. And we considered a number of things. First and foremost is that Fall River did not raise their rates. Second of all, we have a new contract whereby we have a price 55% over their rate. Plus, we have a break point at 20 million gallons, and we are about at that break point where the surplus, the overage, goes from 55% down to 5%. It's a break point that's very favorable for us, and with the expansion, I think we'll hit that. So there are a number of reasons why we decided to recommend holding the rate at $8.30. And Bob and I took it to the Select Board on June 2nd, and the Select Board unanimously agreed with our recommendation to keep the rates steady for one more year at $8.30 a CCF. And we got positive news. This is Shorelines. This is page 5 of Shorelines a couple weeks ago with the headline, "Water Rates Staying Put This Year." Last year saw a 14% hike. Select Board declines proposal to increase another 5%. Our town administrator had proposed a 5% increase, but we had proposed, our committee had proposed a no increase and leaving the rate steady. And so we did get good press, guys, for that. So that's where we are, and that's the one piece of old business that we did have.
Is there a motion to?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I